And as I said to you, I'm going to upload the solutions also. But if you want, if somebody did send me your assignment to see what you have done, then I will upload it because I want to see what is your level. Please just send me, okay?
Okay, Professor.
You can submit to me. You have my email,
Yes.
and then I will then, you know, look what you have done. Then I will upload the solutions. Okay. I think this is the best way to see what you did.
I don't have the email, Professor.
I will give you. Don't worry.
Okay, the question, the table on demand and supply. The table was not clear, so I could not see what was the second column that we asked us to fill.
I will do the solutions, and you may write me or you may contact me from email address or from WhatsApp. Then I will give you the necessary information. Don't worry.
Okay, Professor.
Okay. I think you are seeing these slides. Uh, Okay, we will continue with the consumer choices. As you see, consumer choices, we are still on the consumer side, and consumer choices is helping you to understand the utility function, how the utility is, and what we are going to do to solve and estimate the amount of the utility for the consumers. Utility is the satisfaction actually, and we are trying to estimate the consumer preferences and consumer utility in this class. If we are able to introduce you the utility function and the amount of the utility, it will be then next part and the next lectures introduce you the other side of the economy, the supply side, and we will then estimate the supply, the producer gain, and the production cost, variable cost, everything. Um, as we did in our last lecture, we have estimated some utilities. We determined the utility. Now I'm going to give you a little bit more theoretical information about this consumption function and how it is affecting and changing the budget constraint, the impact of the budget constraint on the economy for the consumers, and the consumers' preferences are given to you in this direction. The income, which is one of the important, let's say, parameter for affecting and changing the utility function, is either going to shift the consumption curve to the right or to the left. Similarly, the price also having some important impact to the consumption curve. Therefore, I will give you some information about this theoretically and then go to the estimations. The income consumption curve is the amount of the goods and services which is estimated regarding to your income, what your income is affecting and changing your basket, isn't it? If you have a two-dimensional basket with the scenario two goods, then you will then determine this basket regarding to your income. And this is then the income consumption curve will be estimated after your income is changing and affecting and sliding up and down. The income consumption curve of goods X is the set of optimal baskets for every possible income level and assumes all other variables remain constant. It's supposed to be the rest of the variables, the ceteris paribus, stay intact, not change. Therefore, only the income changes. We want to know how it is affecting and changing the uh, consumer preferences. As you see here, the income consumption curve is given here. As you see, the right uh, angle, this triangle gives us information about the consumption curve, where it is intersect the indifference curve. The U is the indifference curve, utility curve, so called. Then the tangent position, where it is tangent at 10, is then the best possible combination for this, let's say, any consumer, let's say Mary or John. And as it is given here, the y units of uh, any goods and x units of any good combination will then realize at tangent point, where 10 units of x is becoming best possible combination, and for the y is not given, but it is then estimated regarding to this direction. Then we are going to determine this shifts where the income consumption curve is estimated. This straight lines which is intersecting the utility function on utility curve is the budget constraint, where we are estimating, where we have determined in the last lecture. And budget constraint comprise here the price of the goods of y plus the unit of y, so multiplied with y, plus price of the x plus multiplied, with x unit will equal to the y, or will equal to the I, which is the income. As you see here, the first graph, where it is the black colored, is the income 40 units or $40, and then it is shifted to the $68. And after you are having $68, your income consumption curve, which is or which has meant you are increasing your consumption, and your combination of x and y will enlarge and becomes to the upper level, where the u2 tangent to the this red vertical, this right line, this line, this curve, so-called non-curve, where it is tangent to the utility. Then if it is going to enlarge again to the income is shifted to the 92, and then the x is enlarged from 10 to 18, from 18 to 24. As you see, you are getting more and more from this x, and as well as the y is enlarged, as you are observing here, but the numbers is not given. We are concentrating to the x, and this is then shifting the utility line or utility curve to the u3, and this budget line, as you see, where it is tangent to the curve, is then the best possible option. When we are intersecting this three line, U1, U2, and U3, then we will have the income consumption curve. This is the indication that this consumer is enlarging its capacity and enlarging its combination of these products. The individual demand when income changes, as you are observing here, the points on the income consumption curve can be graphed as a points on a shifting demand curve. As it is indicated here, the curve where it is created for the consumer, where it is the income consumption curve realized, you are understanding the unit of this goods, and the price of this is then indicated on the lower part of the graph, and this will then gives you the information about how this is combined regarding to these price changes. And as you see, if it is constant here, then it will become constant position, where the price of x is supposed to be not change, because we set the ceteris paribus, the rest of the parameters are not changed, but the income, which means the purchasing power parity of this consumer, is going to increase from 40 to 69, 68, and from 68 to 92. Therefore, this will then shift to the higher level. And as you see, this is good for this consumer, because they are getting a better of every next enlargement of this utility. We are from U1 to U2, from U2 to U3, the income consumption curve design. The angle curve, the income consumption curve for good X, can also be written as the quantity consumed of goods X for any income level. This is the individual's angle curve for good X. Let's look The angle curve is, as you are observing, is let's say can be represented with this two combination of the income and units. And as you are observing the 48, 68, and 92 income where it is shifted and the units of products is enlarged, will then gives us the angle curve. When you are going to combine these two intersections and realize this, this will then gives you the angle curve. What is the difference between these two? It is almost the same, but this is a little bit different because it is showing the combination of the income and the units. The angle curve, when the slope of the income consumption curve is positive, the slope of the angle curve is also positive because it is expected so. And if it is subjected to the normal goods, if the income consumption curve shows that the consumer purchases more of goods X as her income rises, good X is normal good, as it is normal expected. You are buying more because it is normal good. You are consuming more as much as your income increased. And equivalently, if the slope of the angle curve is positive, the good is also normal good. The slope is positive. Interior goods, if the income consumption curve shows that the consumer purchases less of good X as her income rises, good is an inferior, which means you are giving up less, you are buying less, and you are giving up for this product as much as your income enlarge. And equivalently, if the slope of the angle curve is negative, the good is supposed to be normal goods. A good can be normal over some ranges of income and inferior over others. Backward bending angle curve is supposed to be represented as you are observing here because of this reduction, as I mentioned to you. This is then represented as going back this intersection income consumption curve not going anymore enlarged to the from the origin, but it is going back because it is somehow causing some reduction on the Y consumption. As it is indicated here, the income is enlarged, but the consumption of Y is somehow enlarged, but the X is expected probably reduced from this point of view. And as you see, it goes, the X is also from 30 to 60, from 16 to 80, then it goes, sorry, from 13 to 18, then it goes to 16. And similarly for the Y, it is expected the same reduction if this is happened. But here we are concentrating to the X, and as it is indicated here, X is reduced, probably the Y is going to be enlarged in the scenario if it is given, or if it was given. Therefore, this reduction from 13 to 18 and from 18 to 16 for the X is supposed to be backward bending angle curve because this is somehow inferior. The individual's demand when price changing, there are two effects, the income effect and the substitution effect. Now we are going a little bit more explaining how this is happened. The income effect is substitution effect because you are understanding we are increasing sometimes our consumption regarding to our income increase, or we are decreasing our consumption or purchasing regarding to these income changes. And this is because of income effect, or this is because of the substitution effect realized in the market. The income effect, when the price of good X falls, purchasing power rises. This is called the income effect of change in prices. It assumes all else remain constant, which means ceteris paribus, nothing's changed, only the income, because of the price changes. And the income effect may be positive for the normal and negative for the inferior, we mentioned. When the price of good X falls, good X becomes cheaper relative to good Y, because the price fall is always demand side is promoted somehow, isn't it? The price reduction or discount in the market is always positively affecting our purchasing capacity. And this change in relative price alone causes the consumer to adjust his consumption basket. And this effect is called the substitution effect. This is because you may call some chocolate Cadbury and let's say Milka or Mars or Snickers. And if the Snickers price fall down, you may prefer to buy more Snickers instead of Cadbury. And this is then because it is realized since you have the substitution same product preferences. It assumes all else remain constant again, and the substitution of effects is always negative, is supposed to be. And income substitution effect, when we are looking, usually a move along a demand curve will be composed of both effects. Let's analyze both effects for the cases of normal good and inferior goods. The example is given here, the normal good. As you are observing, when the normal good is subjected, then the income substitution effect is expected to become, of course, positively related. And as you are observing here, the budget line or the budget constraint where it is intersect the both x and y is tangent to the utility or the indifference curve. This is then the px1 over py or px over py, so called. Then this will then gives you the proportional relationship of these two products. Then you have here the next, the normal goods income and substitution effect is realized because then the income substitution effect is in the market results of this changes. And as you are observing, the utility is shifted to the upper level and the slope becomes again, as it is represented here, negative because one is going to be enlarged and one is going to be somehow reduced, because as you are observing for the y, if you look to A and C points, A is a little bit higher than C, and when you are looking to the x-axis, where XA and XC is subjected, you are enlarging this product, isn't it? We are concentrating only the one product here for being able to estimate and understand the impact of the substitution results of this income. And as you see here, now it is the position realized and the income substitution effect is then realized where it is intersecting, because as you see the C was there and then now we have the B and we shift this substitution effect on the same utility because our utility is supposed to be not changed but our preferences and our income is then causing this effect. And since the income substitution effect is subjected, then as you are seeing, the expected income increase is not realized on the different utility level, but it is represented on the same utility where it is shifted from A to B. And as you know, on the same utility curve, we are having the same combination and same utility. Therefore, this shows our normal goods effect or substitution effect where it is shifted from A to B, first A to C and then to C, and it is reduced to the utility function where it is the same utility level indicated. The substitution effect here is represented with xb minus xa as it is realized because we are substituting this from A to B, and the income effect from XC to XB, XC to XC, then this will then income effect because you are reducing your income to the B. This will then cause you a little bit reduction to bring to the same utility level. And the overall effect is then XC and XA, where it is the whole changes which causes results of this income substitution effect is then XC and XA. And here the inferior goods is given now, the income and substitution effect. As you see now we are shifting a little bit upper, but it is, as you see, is not changing as it is expected level because it is inferior goods. And now it is coming to the B where the substitution effect realized on the same utility function. And now let's see what is happening. The substitution effect is then XP, XA. XP, XA, as you see, is somehow moving to the larger position and enlarging it to the much more for the X. And the income effect is only realized because it is the substitution effect results of this inferior goods. It's shifted from XC to XP, as you see, XC to XP, where the differences between C and B realize. And overall effect is then again, as you see, it is very, very small. XC minus XA or XC and XA between the differences is very, very small because of the inferior goods subjected. And the given goods, theoretically, it is possible that for an inferior goods, that income effect dominates the substitution effect. A given good is a good that is so inferior that net effect of decrease in the price of that good, all else constant, which means ceteris paribus, is a decrease in consumption of that good, which means decrease in price is also represented and causes some decrease in the goods also because it is given. So-called, it is so inferior that the net effect of decrease in the price of that good, all other supposed to be parameters or variables stay constant, is also cause a decrease in consumption. Therefore, let's look up to the given. Income and substitution effect is represented again. Now, as you see, it is going backward to the backside of the A. It is now the income effect is not very effective because this is a given good and it is causing, even if its price changing, negatively affected this substitution and goes back to the lower level from A. And results of this income substitution effect, we are supposing that you are moving again to the, let's say, similar utility curve, and this will then cause you again a reasonable positive impact on the utility function because it is supposed y is somehow is reduced and enlarged the x on this direction because of this given. This is called given paradox actually, because of the given goods. And the impact, the substitution effect is XP, XA. As you see, XP, XA is considerably higher. And the income effect is XC minus XP. XC minus is then going back again to the negative side. And then overall effect is XC, XA again is negative because it's reduced. It's moving back to the position where the first initial position going to the other backyard position. The given goes for given goes, demand does not slope down, and for the income effect to be large enough to offset the substitution effect, and the good would have to represent a very large proportion of the budget. Therefore, when we are looking to the this maximization satisfaction or the interior optimum positions where marginal utility of x divided to marginal utility of y is supposed to be equal to the price of the x over price of the y, and this will then equal to the differentiation of the y divided to differentiation of x. Therefore, maximizing satisfaction or the inferior optimum is supposed to be used for estimating the problems. And when we are going to the budget constraint where it is px is the price of the x and x is the amount of the x good or good that we are buying from the good x product will be multiplied plus py is the price of the y multiplied with the y amount of these goods is equal to the disposable income, also called the income. And when we are going to give the example, finding income and substitution effects, suppose a quasi-linear utility is given here because there is some power of position. And utility x and y is subjected. We have two different parameter here, 2x power of 0.5 plus y. I think you look up this differentiation table that I have uploaded. Did you look this? Did you check this? For helping you?
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes,
so
Professor.
I think this is not difficult for you because it was given you how it is done, because we are not using very difficult differentiation for letting you to understand how we are going to estimate the utilities, because some students may not understand too much differentiation and mathematics, and this will then simplest estimations for you, for letting you to understand how we are going to calculate the utilities. The marginal utility, which is going to be subjected for x, is equal to, then when you're going to differentiate the x, is going to 1 over power of 0.5 x, isn't it? And the marginal utility for y is then 1, because y power of 1 minus 1 is 1, therefore the utility is 1, and the price is given €1 for y, and the income is given 10. Then here it is supposed to be the x estimated, as you are understanding. Then we are using again this interior optimum conditions. You see here, we have to use always this percentage shares and equation of these utilities, marginal utilities, price changes, price share percentages, and the differentiation for calculating such problems. And as you see here, the marginal utility of x over marginal utility of y is equal to px over y, px over py. Then this will then gives you 1 over x power of 5 is going to be equal to 0.5, because the px supposed to be 0.50. Then when you are going to cross multiplying, x is going to be 4. If you don't understand, I can explain you more comprehensive. Did you get it? It's okay, I think, because this is only simplest cross
Professor,
multiply.
come again.
Huh? This is
Can you
the
please
utility.
repeat it?
This is marginal utility of x, isn't it? Is what you see, marginal utility of x. Look here, look. Marginal utility of x is 1 over x, 1 over x over x power of 0.5, isn't it? You got it? And marginal utility y is
Yes.
1, 1. This is 1. This is 1. This is 1, isn't it? When you divide these to each other, this will be therefore marginal utility of x over marginal utility of y has meant 1 over x power of 0.5 or 1 over 2, isn't it? Or root square, isn't it? Root square. You can root square, isn't it? 1 over 2 is root square, isn't it? Root square. Root square of x, isn't it? You understand? X power of
Yes, sir.
0.5 is 1 over 5, 1 over 2, which means x root square. 1 over x root square is equal to 0.5, because px is 0.5 and py is given 1. Okay? Therefore, py is 1 and px is 0.5. Therefore, you don't have to write 1 here again. Therefore, cross multiplying, then you will have here, if you get the, if you have here root square, you know, if this is x root square and multiply it 2, this will then becomes x, isn't it? 2 times this will gives you x, isn't it? Am I right? You didn't understand.
Yes, Professor.
You understand, over 1 over 5 is 1 over 2. 1 over 5 is 1 over 2. Multiplied 2 is 1. Therefore, this is x, isn't it? And this is also multiplied 1 over 0.5 with 2. Then this will then gives you, because 0.5 has also mean 1 over 2, isn't it? 0.5 has also mean 1 over 2, isn't it? Did you get it? You can write this like this. 1 over 2. Sorry. You can write this 1 over 2. Upside down this and multiply it with 2. This will 4, isn't it? Did you get it? When you're going to upside down this, because 1 over 2, 1 over x power root square, isn't it? Did you get it? 1 over x power of 5 is equal to 1 over 2. Then you can upside down this x and this 2. Then this will then becomes x is equal to like this. Let me write this, okay? Power of root square, or you can, is it clear? Then you multiply it with 2, then this will then gives you 4. Okay, my good. Because it is easy. Okay. Then here the budget constant, we are going to substitute on this equation that we have found this for. You will have pxx plus pyy. We have given this, isn't it? X we have, px is we have, py we have, y we have. Then you're going to estimate y. This is 8. Is it clear? Because we have px, x, we have py, and y we have here 8. Is that okay? Is it okay? You get it? Because look here, py is 1, isn't it? I is 10 is given. And x is 4, you put here. Px 0.5 multiplied with 4 is 2 plus py is going to be given 1 multiplied with 1. Then you know this is 10. Therefore, this is 1 times y is y. This is 4 times, isn't it? Px is 0.2. Then this will then gives you 1 over 2. Then it's 2. Then you're going to subtract this from 10. 10 minus 8. 10 minus 2. If you add this to the other side, y is 10, isn't it? I is 10. Then you have y as 8. Did you get it?
Yes, Professor.
Okay, then we're going to substitute this to the utility function. And utility function is this one. You see this? Utility function. 2x power of 2 plus y. Okay? And then 2x is 4. Power of 2 is 2 plus 8, sorry. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 8 is 12. Then utility is 12. Is that okay up to now? Did you get it?
Yes, Professor.
Thank you, my dear. And then we have here for the other position where we suppose the price changes reduced to see whether it is inferior goods or to normal goods. We suppose the price is reduced to 0.20. Same application we are doing here, and we are having here, you see we have using this all, and we have the x now 25. Okay? Now xc we are estimating is 25. On the graph, design the graph on your mind. This graph I'm talking about, this graph. Okay, xc, xa, xp. Okay, we are using this imaginary. Okay, then we have here, this is 0.20. Then we have now x 25. Then we put this again to the equation. Px is 0.2, x is 25. Then this has meant what? 25 times 0.2. What does it mean? 1 over 5. This is 5. Then py is y. Then 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. Then y is 5. Y is 5. Isn't it? Did you get it? It's clear up to now? Or you didn't? Px is 25. Px is 0.20. X is 25. 0.20 multiplied with 25 is 5, isn't it? Because 0.20 has also mean 1 over 5. Therefore, 25 divided to 5 is 5. Therefore, this part is 5. And py is 1, is not changed. And y is then multiplied with 1 is 1. Therefore, y is equal to 10. I is 10. Therefore, 10 minus, when you're adding this to the other side, this will then gives you, if you put this to the other side, isn't it? I will show you. You add here and subtract it, isn't it? You remove this, and this is then 1. When you're going to multiply it with this, then this will then gives you 10 minus 5. Am I right? And this makes 5.
Yes.
Did you get it? Is okay?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Professor. Super, Professor.
Okay, super, super, super. Okay, my dear. Now we are going to substitute to the equation, to the function, utility function. Utility function is this one, this 2x power of 2 plus y. the utility function 2 power of whatever it is. We're going to put the 25x power of 0.5, which is going to be 5. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 5 is 15. Then now the utility is going to be 15. Okay, let's put to the graph then. Then what are the substitution? The question is, what are the substitution and income effect that results from the decline in Px, finding the basket B that gives the utility of U12 at price P, which is 0.20, and P1, then Py1. Then we have here all these that we have estimated. X is 4 and the other x is 25 is going to be, isn't it? Then we are estimating here, this is 25, this is 20, so this is 15, this is 12. Then it is going to be asked, what is the overall effect? And overall effect, the substitution effect is B minus XA. The income effect is XC minus XB, and overall effect is XC minus XA. Then we have to then find the tendency for the tangency, sorry, conditions. Then again, we are using this equation for using and finding this tangency for being able to determine on the same utility, not 15, on the same utility, isn't it 12? Then we are using now this equation for finding this. This is then 25, but we are using this utility where we are having for the same utility. We suppose it is 12, not 15, isn't it? Then we will find YB where we need to this. Then it is 2 now. Then it is 2. Then you're going to substitute is on the equation where it is supposed to be XB minus XA is 25 minus 4 will give you then 21, and XC minus XP then will gives you again 0, which means there is no income effect, but substitution effect is given here. Is it clear? Because XA is given, it was 4 for the former example, because we are trying to find, as you see here, the 4, we are looking for this, isn't it? We are trying to find on this curve, not on this curve, but on this utility curve. Therefore, we consider this utility function, and we consider the x for this one, not this one, okay? For finding the B impact of these changes, then we are having here, of course, as you see, is now then this difference is 25 minus 4 is going to be 21, the substitution, and this then XC and XP, 25 to 25, will then give you 0. This is then the income effect. Did you get it? I think you suppose. And when you upload this video and listen and watch and calculate, you will understand what I have mean, what means. Okay. Okay, I'm going to the consumer. Yes, please. I listen. You have question? Or is that okay? Shall I have to continue? Okay. Consumer surplus. The individual's demand curve can be interpreted as the maximum amount such individuals is willing to pay for a good, and in turn the market price determines the amount the individual actual pays for all the unit consumed, and the consumer surplus is then the net economic benefit of the consumer due to a purchase of a good. It is measured the difference between the maximum amount of consumer is willing to pay and the actual amount he pays for it, and the area under the ordinary demand curve and the above the market price provides a measure of consumer surplus, and the consumer demand function is given as Q is equal to 40 minus 4 PX, and suppose PX is 3 euro. What is the surplus? Now we are going to estimate the surplus. First, we are going to determine the equilibrium, of course, and we are going to not the equilibrium, we are going to determine the estimation of the Q, where it is determined by using the price, and it is 28. When you're going to substitute 3 to the equation, 40 minus 4 times 3 is 12, then it will be then Q28 demand function will be the demanded, and then you're going to represent this, the 10, and the 10 is the PX price, which is given, isn't it? Is supposed to be when it's 0, when Q is 0, the price is 10 because 40. You want me to show you here. When Q is 0, you add this here, isn't it, for finding this? Then this will then divide it here. This will be divided to 4, isn't it? You divide it to 4, then you will get 10. Px 10 when 0 Q, when there is no shop, isn't it? Did you get it?
Yes,
I
sir.
think you get it. Okay, then
Yeah,
we have
that one is-
here, you don't understand. For finding 0 point, for finding this intersection, this, isn't it? Because there is 0 purchasing. When you have the maximum price, this means you have 0x, isn't it? Therefore, you put here 0. You put here 0, and when it is 0, then you add to the other side. This 0 is minus 40. This will be minus 40. And this is also minus 4. Minus 40 over 4. If you add this also, divided this 4. Dividing this 4 will then gives you this 10, isn't it? This is also negative. This will then gives you 10. 10, isn't it? Px is 10 when there is no purchasing. Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my dear. We were here, as you see, 10 and 40. Now we want to calculate the surplus, this area. How we are going to calculate? As in geometry, you are using h base divided 2. This is the right angle triangle, isn't it? Then you will calculate like this. You first calculate this. If you want the 3, because you want to know what is the surplus, because the question was, we suppose the price is 3. Therefore, you go to 3 here, isn't it? You go to 3, and at 3 you have 28. We estimated, isn't it? 8, 28. Okay? The quantity is 8. Therefore, you're going to determine the surplus. Then the surplus here, as you are observing here, is going to be, you have to determine this rectangular, which is 28 times 3, isn't it? The area also, this shaded area, this height bait area for the triangle, for the triangle. What I can write it here, okay? For calculation of the height for the triangle formula, what is this? Height multiplied base divided 2, isn't it? Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Then is equal to this. Then this is 0.2 is 2. 0.2 is 1 over 2, isn't it? Therefore, if you're going to calculate this for area, sorry, then you will have this 10 minus 3, which is the height, isn't it? And base is 28. Height base divided 2 is 0.5, then will give you 98. Then you have to calculate this also. And for the next slide, you're going to calculate the rest, which is going to be given. As you see, you have to calculate first this small triangle from 3 to 2. This will then gives you 10 to 2 minus and multiply it with 32, because it is then the differentiation. What if Px is subjected? Because Px is newly given, then Px, of course, you're gonna substitute to the equation again here. You're gonna substitute here. 4 times 2 is 8. 40 times 2 is 38. Did you get it? 32, sorry. Okay, 32. This. Okay, 32 and 2. Then you have here 128 for this area. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Because, good, because 1 times 32 is this area and is going to be added to the rest. And then if it is going to be calculated, then you will have then this will be subtracted from this 128 to the others, then you will get the differentiation. Or if it is asked to you this it is this small area, then you will subtract this big one, this triangle from this small one, then you will get this, okay? Or you will calculate this rectangular and you will calculate this also, which is 0.2. 0.2 multiplied this, then this will then give you, because this is, sorry, this is 28 will be multiplied to 1 is going to give you the 28, and if it's going to be added to the all, then you will then have all this together. This small one is also 1.1 is going to be divided 0.5, then this will then gives you this all together. Okay, the market demand function is the horizontal sum of the demand of the individual consumers. And in other words, the market demand is obtained by adding the quantities demanded by the individuals at each price and plotting these total quantity for all possible prices. As it is indicated here, example is given. Suppose we have two consumers as shown below. Q is 10 minus P and the consumer 2 is Q 20 minus 5P, and the market demand then will be the combination of these two. As you are understanding, first it is taken the left side of the curve and the right side in the middle curve will be combined these two, and then you're going to create the market demand, which has meant you are going to combine the curves of the consumer to create the market demand. The summary for this lesson: individual, ordinary, uncompensated demands are derived from the utility maximization problem of the consumer and the optimal consumption basket for a utility maximizing consumer changes as prices change due to both income and substitution effect is introduced to you. Simple models is introduced, and if income effects are strong enough, a price rise may result in increased consumption for any optimizing consumer, and the consumer surplus measures the net economic benefit of the purchases. As I have shown to you, you're going to calculate the triangles, you're going to calculate the rectangulars, you're going to calculate the squares for estimating the amount of this surplus for the consumer. And the market demand is the horizontal sum of the individual consumers' demands, also called the demand curves, for a particular goods. This was our presentation for today. I hope you profited from this lecture. I will give you after the, let's say, Ramadan or Sugar Fest, we have next week holiday, then we don't have class, but after the holiday, I will have one more class, and then after the next week, I am planning to do the midterm exam on 22 May at 14 in the university. I will announce it in the queues. Okay, is that okay for you? At 14 o'clock in 2 May in the university will be a written exam in 2 May, because I want to do one more class for you. And I will also get your results from the assignment and upload the, let's say, answers of these questions and give you one more or two more examples for this with the solutions. Will be enough for you to present and prepare yourself to the exam. Do you have any question?
No, sir, just regarding the assignment, should we do it handwritten or in Word file?
No problem. If you write handwriting, and because it is difficult to calculate it on the personal computer, you have to use mathematical program. You can write it hand with your hands and take the picture and upload to the Word document or PDF and send it to me, my email. I will give you my email address also. Sorry, my email address I will write here. Please check this. Okay. Oh. Is that okay? Did you get it? My email address? Is it clear for my email?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got it.
Oui, c'est bon, c'est bon.
Okay. Okay then. See you then next week. We don't have, as I said to you, any class because of the fest, it's holiday. But after the next week, we have one more class with some examples and with some comprehensive explanation of the new chapter, and then give you on 2nd May at 14. I will announce it in Teams and also in queues the exam. Then you will attend to the exam. Is that okay? And I will upload also some materials to study. Okay, I will upload some materials for studying. Is that fine for you?
Okay, sir.
Yes,
Just
sir.
please
Okay.
upload all the
Yes, good.
chapters that we have studied.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend. Bye bye.
Thank you, Professor. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.